From California is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, this bill is the culmination of 20 years of policy failures in Afghanistan, and it comes at the same time that our southern border has been recklessly opened to the world. This measure's only redeeming feature is that the alternative is even worse. Let's begin with the debacle occurring on what, until January 20th, was our southern border, finally secured by President Trump's policies. On his first day in office, President Biden reversed those policies. He stopped the Mexico remain in Mexico protocols that required asylum claimants to remain there while their claims could be adjudicated. He stopped all construction on the nearly completed border wall, leaving construction gaps that make it all but useless. And he ordered our enforcement agencies not to faithfully execute the law. The result is that over 1 million foreign nationals have illegally entered our country this year, with a projection of 2 million by the end of the year. Now, that's the entire population of Wyoming, Alaska, and Vermont combined. And the Gallup organization warns that based on its polling, there are 42 million people just in Latin America and the Caribbean who intend to follow. And this occurs at the same time that 20 years of failed policy in Afghanistan is culminating. The attack on September 11th, 2001 was our generation's Pearl Harbor. It was conducted by al-Qaeda, which was acting as an agency of the Taliban government of Afghanistan, which gave it support and protection. Now, the day after the attack on Pearl Harbor, Congress pledged the entire resources of the country to the war, and the President pledged to win through to absolute victory. Days after the attack on New York and Washington on September 11th, Congress voted a tepid authorization for the use of military force, whatever that is, and the President told us to go shopping. For 20 years, we dithered, twiddled, postured, hesitated. We attacked Iraq that had nothing to do with 9/11 and put a lot of brave troops in harm's way without giving them the support that they needed and without our leaders ever having a clear objective, much less any will to win. You know, it was from that very podium in this chamber that General Douglas MacArthur warned that in war, there is no substitute for victory. That's a lesson our leaders have failed to learn time and again. So this debacle is now coming to its sad, shameful, and sorry conclusion. The Taliban again threatened to seize this ill-fated country, imperiling the thousands of Afghans who assisted our troops in various ways. To encourage their help, we passed the Afghan Allies Protection Act of 2009, which created a special immigrant visa or green card program for Afghan nationals who worked with the United States government for at least a year and who face retribution from the Taliban. This program also provides green cards to their spouses and the children. Now, during the 20 years that our troops have been in Afghanistan, tens of thousands of Afghans have worked for or on behalf of the U.S. government in one capacity or another, and to date, over 15,500 green cards have already been issued to the principal applicants, and then additionally, for each principal applicant, an average of 3.5 green cards have been issued to spouses and children. That's about 70,000 that we've already taken in. That is a city the size of Bowling Green, Kentucky. But many more are still there. And so we have before us H.R. 3985, the Allies Act. It makes changes to the Afghan Special Immigrant Visa Program to accommodate the accelerated withdrawal that the President has ordered. The emergency created by this order means that we will not be adequately vetting arrivals under this program. Those already admitted have had to meet eligibility requirements. They've had to undergo security and background checks. If we'd been able to develop this legislation the old-fashioned way, through real face-to-face meetings and good faith discussions, I think we could have produced a process that protected both the American people and the Afghan families who sided with our government. But alas, that was not to be under this majority. Instead, H.R. 3985 authorizes 8,000 more green cards on top of the 10,000 authorized but still unclaimed. Now, given that 15,500 principal green cards have been processed over the 20-year life of this program, the odds of processing a like number in a matter of months is pretty slim, unless, of course, the administration cuts processing and vetting quarters, which I think is a given. H.R. 3985 also increases the eligibility pool for the Afghan Special Immigration Visa Program in two ways. First, it removes the requirement that Afghan nationals who worked with the U.S. coalition forces must have performed sensitive and trusted activities for U.S. personnel. This provision was added several years ago with the understanding that there must be limits on the number of people who come to the U.S., and in an attempt to ensure that the limited number of green cards available actually go to those Afghan nationals who are most in danger. Now, we asked the administration how many individuals may be eligible once this language is removed from statute. Their answer, they don't know and they don't care. Second, this bill extends program eligibility to Afghans whose employers received grant funding from the U.S. government or were in cooperative agreements with the U.S. government and who, quote, contributed to the United States mission in Afghanistan. Well, I am concerned that we do not know exactly what can be considered as contributing to the United States mission in Afghanistan or how many people to whom this could apply. The bill also eliminates the requirement that an applicant has experienced an ongoing serious threat as a consequence of his or her qualifying employment. This requirement is one of the main reasons for the creation of the program, to help ensure the safety of those in danger because of working with the U.S. Now, this means that among the worthy asylum seekers, we're likely to see those without merit, or worse, those who seek to do our country harm, because the vetting process is effectively abandoned by this bill. And this comes at a time when the asylum process is being made a mockery by thousands of meritless claims a day showing up on our southern border and being admitted into our country. I wish we could have had an honest and open discussion about the wisdom of eliminating this requirement in committee. Unfortunately, the Democrats chose to bypass the committee process. But with the American withdrawal fast approaching, we're left with this deeply flawed bill on the one hand, or the very real prospect of watching Afghan patriots being hunted down and seeing them and their families hung by construction cranes. So I will support this bill as the least bad option that the Democrats have left us. I reserve the balance of our time.
The gentleman reserves. Gentleman